Good morning, everybody. This is Ned.
Chichai.
And collectively, we are My Philippine Dreams. Today is January 5th, 2020, the first day of the rest of our lives. I hope everybody had a pleasant New Year's Eve celebration and has fully recovered from their personal festivities. I did not indulge that night, so I was good. We actually went down to the boulevard
To watch the
to
fireworks.
watch the fireworks. Brought her family because all her nieces and nephews and sisters and brothers are visiting. They were visiting over the holiday vacation because they were out of school. So we all went down. Dumaguete actually put on a pretty good firework production, but of course, I guess Bacola's better.
Because we're doing fireworks competition sometimes.
Yeah, they actually have a fireworks competition. So she was sending me videos of Bacola's display. It was a lot better. Now, what Bacola didn't have that Dumaguete did have.
Is it the.
Yes. If you were down there personally, you're going to know what I'm talking about. There was actually a fire dancer. There was a fire dancer down there, and the fire dancer worked really hard and did a really good job spinning the fire and breathing fire and all that stuff. There was only one little issue, and what was that?
He is gay,
Yeah,
bio.
yeah, he's a buyout, and he's
Boobs.
and he obviously had some hormone treatments in the past. He was only wearing shorts. He was wearing short denim
There's no top.
Daisy Dukes with no top. So it was just kind of surreal because everybody had their families down there and everything, and it was just a little weird. But hey, it's more fun in the Philippines. It's another perfect example. And also how some things are accepted here, even though it's supposed to be a conservative Catholic country, that some things aren't attacked like they are sometimes in the West in the United States. Because that couldn't happen in the United States. You want to see that. We also brought the family to Tejero, which is a water park, and a good time was had by all. And we also had a competition, and it was the water who could hold their breath the longest underwater.
You always win.
And I always win, even though I smoke. Oh, and before we go any further, apologies. My allergies are acting up right now. I'm asking my community right here if you've had experience with allergies in the Philippines and you've taken any injections for it to reduce the hypersensitivity to whatever's in the air here, please let me know down in the comment section. I take sertrazine right now, which is actually government subsidized, so they're cheap, but it's annoying. It's crazy. We also went out to Cafe Racer.
Last night for a family dinner.
Yep, because they were all leaving that night at 11. They were
Yeah.
heading back at 11 p.m. to Bacolod. So we went out to Cafe Racer. And if you're in Dumaguete and you're doing a big family celebration or family dining out, I highly recommend Cafe Racer. They got the big family platters. We got two of those. They're not that expensive, and the food was really good. It was a cut above their usual. Whoever was working the barbecue, the tocino, man, it's good stuff. And some of your nieces and nephews are going to be visiting again, right?
Yeah, on April. Only Beb and AJ, Dora.
Okay, Dora the Explorer and AJ with Raygon. Maybe Raygon's going to be coming down too. That's her crush. So they'll be coming down in April to keep Chichai company while I am in the United States. A quick point of interest here. This is some sad news, actually. A gentleman named Larry Henderson recently passed away here in Dumaguete. He had been here for over 22 years, I believe. He ran a little visa company. He had a restaurant at one point. Him and Ronaldin had a restaurant. He owned the Dumaguete Info Forum at one point and was a moderator on a bunch of other forums. And he was also an expert on Suzuki multicabs. He was the guy on Suzuki multicabs. He had a forum on that and everything too. He recently passed away. He suffered from high blood pressure. I mean, really high, like 220 over 80. No, 220 like over 140 at all times. He was taking medications for it. He had it since he was a kid, but he did pass away. If you're in Dumaguete, and I'm mentioning this because they didn't have a whole lot of money. Larry worked really hard, but they just didn't have a lot of money. He didn't have any type of pension or anything. So she's having to deal with the burial expenses and everything, the funeral expenses. So if you know Larry, and you, the link to his girlfriend, to Ronald's PayPal is down in the video description box. So if you feel like sending some money over to them, I'm sure she would greatly appreciate it in this time of turmoil. She is devastated from what I'm hearing, and they just had the funeral for him the other day. I don't attend funerals, I'm sorry. I'm not even going to attend my own funeral. I'm getting cremated. But if you know Larry, you'll know that he's one of the... And you know how Cheesemas is in Dumaguete amongst the foreigner population. People are talking crap about each other all the time. The more high profile you are, the more they talk. Ahem. I had never heard anybody say anything bad about Larry. People only had good things to say about him. So, in short, he was among the best of us. And he will be missed because every time, sometimes he'd come down to Bogarts and hang out and stuff. And it was always a good time. So again, the description, the link to her PayPal is down in the video description box. All right, let's get into the comments and the questions. Dan Ford says, on the Spaghetti Fest video, we also did the Spaghetti Fest the other day. That was really good. Your family.
It's very fast too.
Yeah, it was very fast. It was very efficient. They knew what they were doing. It went really well. We had the truck. The brothers had the truck down, so we did that. So Dan Ford said, "That's great what you do there with the Spaghetti Fest. I wonder how you do that. I would like to try something like this in our barangay. It's really easy. You just go to McDonald's and you say, hey, I want 212 spaghetti meals for Saturday at 1 p.m. You give them the money. They box everything up. They got everything. They got the drinks. They got the spaghetti meals. They got the forks. They got everything you need. And they take care of it. And also, if you're doing something like that, talk to the manager. Hopefully next time we're going to have a discount on this so we can give out even more food. And people ask, why don't we cook it ourselves and all that stuff? It's cheaper. It's just a treat for the kids, and it's a good time. It's a win-win scenario. Everybody makes out.
It's only twice, only once for 2 months?
Yeah, once every 2 months we have it. I take the vast majority of the money I get from my Patreon and put it to that. As I noted previously, I am not a charity. I do not solicit funds, and I don't do any work here in the Philippines because I'm only on a tourist visa for about another 2 months. Then my visa status changes. All right. So you had a good time on that? Spaghetti Fest?
Of course.
Okay. Chichai was in charge of marking the kids with the marker. Bill Donahue says, again from the Spaghetti Fest. Hi, Ned. I'm Bill from Chicago. I lived in Cebu for 5 years, long time ago. I've been following you for a long time. You are the most respected vlogger in the Philippines. Your information is thoughtful, respectful, and accurate. Your buddy Bud is also right on. Congratulations on your recent nuptials. Lucky man. Okay, there's two types of comments that make me uneasy. One of them are the ones that, you know, they're obviously a troll. It's something that they wouldn't say to my face in person. And the other one is like the opposite extreme when people say something like you're the most respected vlogger in the Philippines. I don't think so, but I appreciate the comments and the intent and the gesture. So thank you, Bill. And congratulations to Ned on the recent nuptials. It should be, because I don't know if it's congratulations to you because you're gonna be stuck with me for a while. There was also a shooting in Dumaguete on January 3rd. I actually drove by the crime scene. It was an attorney. I don't know if he survived or not. I haven't seen any updates. Also last year in the city of Gentle People, 2 radio hosts were killed. So you got to be careful being an attorney or a radio host and what you talk about and what you know here in the Philippines. All right, now we're going to get into this is kind of a long comment. And this is by Reality Bites, and he's got it on the Spaghetti Fest video. It's kind of long, but let's get into this as quickly as possible. Let me tell you a story about the BI, the Bureau of Immigration. I went to get an annual report a few years ago in Dumaguete. That means he's married. He's been here for a while. Must be on 13A. I noticed one of the girls in there wasn't Filipina. He said, live long enough here and you can tell. Well, yeah, there's a big difference between a Filipina and a Korean. A few days later, I came back to pick up the receipt and asked who she was. They said she was a Korean student and works there for OJT, on-job training. I got pissed and said, what? If she wants to volunteer in a school or hospital, that's fine, but no other country in the world would allow someone with her status to be working in an immigration office with all these sensitive documents, data details, addresses, etc. I may have mentioned I was going to contact BI in Manila. They said, okay, sir, I'll tell the boss or something like that. So there you go. BI was using a non-citizen student on a student visa working for free in their office. Yeah, that happens a lot. OJT is everywhere. It's in the service industries. A lot of times when you go to hotels and resorts and all that stuff, some of the kids working there are actually college students and they're not getting paid. So it's a free source of workers. It's been in use here for a long time. It's just the way it is. A lot of government offices, same thing. If someone's interested in working immigration or governments or whatever, that's what they do. I don't think it's a big deal. They're having access to my information because there's nothing like super sensitive in there. So thank you, Reality Bites, for that. If you smoke, if you drink, or if you drive in the Philippines, hopefully not at the same time, you're going to be seeing the price on all those products going up once again. The Philippines is trying to fund their public healthcare system where everybody can have access to healthcare. And one of the things they're doing is raising prices on, they're having a sin tax on the alcohol and cigarettes, and they're also having increase in prices on gasoline, diesel, fuels, all that type of stuff. Cigarettes have basically doubled in price in the past year. It was about 55 pesos. Now they're about 105 pesos. But again, it's a sin tax. People shouldn't be smoking. It's a horrible habit. It's probably going to kill you or cause severe health consequences at some point. And I'm saying that as a smoker. Yeah.
That's what I'm gonna say.
Yeah, so hopefully April I'll be quitting again and staying quit this time. I say that every year, but I just can't go to Bogart's. I can't drink a beer, and I can't drink coffee. All right. So how's things with you and your channel? You doing anything?
I'm recording videos. My latest video was with my nephew.
Oh, yes.
We did.
That's published, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta check that out at some point. All right, let's make sure we're working here. Okay, this seems to be working. Wally Kroger, Ned, we are trying to help you read me. Oh, no, I can see your comments. Hi, Rain Man, Ken Unger, had to crank up the volume. No, it's not pre-recorded. Volume, okay, shit.
Volume?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Oh yeah, I see bar is low. I should have used the Berlinger input. Well, I hope you can all hear me. I don't know. We'll just keep going with this. I should have checked. Oh man, we screwed up. Yeah, Tom says Larry and Roni had a Visa Assistance Service also, right? Yes, they did. They had one of those. How to tell Ned is a computer generated. Wow, okay, so this is a total catastrophe. Oh, shoot. Alright, well, it's the story of our lives. We can't boost the volume anymore. Oh, man, I didn't have the freaking microphone turned on. No. All right, thank you for everybody who commented saying that you cannot hear us. Hopefully now you can hear us. Maybe we should just do this over again.
Over again?
All right, you know what we're going to do? I don't want to go through all this stuff again, though.
Just continue.
All right, we'll just continue. The big thing is, again, if you know Larry Henderson, who recently passed away in Dumaguete, Ronalyn is in a bad space, bad situation. The link to her PayPal is down in the video description box. I usually don't, like, people send me, hey, Ned, can you help us with this project? Hey, Ned, can you do some marketing on this thing? Can you give some exposure on this? And I usually don't because I can't vet what people are sending me, and I don't know where the money's going or who's getting the money or anything like that. So, yeah. Again, the link to Ronalyn's personal PayPal is down in the video description box. Also, gas is going to be getting more expensive. Cigarettes are getting more expensive. And alcohol is going to be getting more expensive. Boo. So don't drink and drive. All right. Above the Law leaves a comment on first world problems in the Philippines making change. He says, You can be as ugly as sin and still grab a lovely Filipino woman. I have a chance then. Ha ha ha. You must be meaning me. I'm not ugly. I was there last year. The woman of your dreams is there for sure. Make sure you have money mind. I'm not sure what that means, but yeah. Well, thank you for that above the law. Yeah, and again, look at me, man. Yeah. If I can do it, just about anybody can do it.
You're handsome.
Yeah, you keep saying that. I don't know, man. I don't know.
Guapo ka.
It's the advantage of having a big nose. All right, so if you're still with us and you can actually hear us, I take time during the live stream every week to give away some free stuff. I can't believe I didn't have the microphone turned on. And the free stuff that I'm giving away is my book, Chasing Your Philippine Dream, an Expat Guide to the Philippines. It's a good book. I put a lot of work into it. It's available for $10.95. There's a link to that down in the video description box. I'm going to give 3 copies of it away. I've only had one person, actually 2 people now, ask for their money back. The first one because he thought it was an actual book, a physical book. And the second person because he thinks I'm a chick boy. And so he doesn't like me. And sent them, he literally sent the PDF document back to me. And so there's that. So I'm going to ask you a question. The first 3 people to email me the correct answer to myphilippinedreams@gmail.com. That's myphilippinedreams@gmail.com. We'll get a copy of the ebook. Professional wrestling is known to use words like jabroni, work, and shoot. They do this in order to protect what they call kayfabe. Kayfabe. What is kayfabe? The first 3 people that correctly email me what kayfabe is will get a free copy of the book, and I'll post it up on Facebook and all that stuff. All right, moving on. Pamela. Pamela Juans I did a video back in June 2019, the cost of living. She said, or he said, after getting married, let's see you come on here and tell us again. LOL. So I guess after you get married, costs of everything go up, and that's okay. I'm ready for that. But she works.
Yeah.
She makes bank, right?
Of course.
Yeah. All right. Also, I just asked the question on wrestling, and I listen to a lot of podcasts while I work, and I listen to My Brother and Me, which is a great podcast. I listen to Critical Role, which is a Dungeons and Dragons podcast done by professional voice actors. And I also have been listening a lot lately to Jim Cornette podcasts. You might know him. He was a manager in wrestling for a very long time. He used to have the tennis racket. I actually saw him live back in 1986 when I was in the military. Went to see a wrestling show. It was a great show. Saw the 4 Horsemen, all that stuff. I've been listening to his podcast, and it's so freaking good. I don't actively watch wrestling anymore because we don't have TV or anything, and I'm just really not that interested in watching it all the time. But I love the background, the history of it, what goes on behind the scenes, the way the carnival atmosphere, and the way they manipulate the audience by generating heat and all that stuff, and trying to get over and putting each other over and cooperating. I mean, and also the injuries. I mean, a lot of people get really hurt doing this. It's a serious business, and these guys and Jim Cornette is his passion in life, and we all have to have a passion in our life, and that is his passion. And it's a great podcast. I love it. Because he's talking about a lot of the stuff when I was actively watching it. It was good stuff. Max Rodriguez says, "Hey Ned, what's going on with the new requirements with a visa on your passport?" All right. So the Philippines and the United States have been butting heads over the DiLima thing. And so now the Philippines is threatening, saying that before Americans can come over here, they have to get their visa stamped in the United States, which is going to be a bit of a pain. It's going to cause a lot of problems, I think, for them as far as tourism goes. Because if you're faced with difficulties like that, there's other places you can go. And they've also threatened this before, and nothing's come of it. But if they actually do it, just get a visa before you go. Mm-hmm. Just get do the paperwork there. make the payments there and all that stuff. All right, let's check the comments again, make sure that everything is actually working. This is so embarrassing. Rayman says, you are like a mime. I'm doing all this talking. Time to poop. Okay, so A-team's going to poop. Robert Vargas says, bro, you've lost so much muscle size. What's up? Well, I had to take 2 months off from the gym for my elbow injuries.
And
I have...
You got dengue.
And I got dengue. And so now I'm trying to go back to the gym. But it's hard, man. It's freaking hard.
Buddy Munoz.
I lost.
What is up with having a big nose there? I have a huge nose.
Oh, so buddy, you're gonna be a player, man. Bring that big nose over here. Who is my Filipino? YNA is doing a live stream right now, and I'm here watching Ned. Don't tell her, okay. K-Fave. All right. So moving on. Also, Ed Denoy notes, for every American tourist, there are 1,000 Chinese tourists. That is true. And if you've been following the news over the past year, the BI has done 2 raids on illegal Chinese workers working the casino stuff, the online gambling stuff here in the Philippines. That's gotten huge. That's actually spiked property rental costs up in Makati because they're concentrated around there. And I think at this point, each raid had over 300 people that were arrested, and they were working illegally and all that stuff. Because you can't work here. If you're on a tourist visa, you can't work in the Philippines. And it's become a bit of a problem, so they're addressing that. Do I miss Castle Island? Larry Morris says, do you miss Castle Island in Southie? Sullivan's. Yeah, Sullivan's, he's referring to, is the hot dog place. It has great hot dogs. Castle Island's a beautiful place. I used to walk around there for exercise. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place. It's actually a castle. The Americans built it or shortly after the Revolutionary War or during the Revolutionary War. And it's really cool. And there's also islands out in the Bay of Boston. And they have islands and with forts and stuff out there too. And that's cool to see. All right, moving on. Now that everybody can hear us. Vad Kirill on the Escape to Sikihor 2 video says, oh man, you do not trying to explain them what do you want. Even on videos, easy to see that. The people do not understand you. Try to use a simple words only and talk with them slowly. Otherwise, it's looking like you are talking only for yourself and don't care about the people you are speaking with. Looks stupid. Well, thank you, Vad, for that. And he brings up a good point. A lot of times I do that. I assume that people, can speak English. I also speak too quickly. And I think I did that. Remember we went to the witch doctor? And I'm blah, 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 blah. And, and when you get out to the provincial areas, English isn't, as common as it is in the more urban areas. So thank you for that, Vad. That is constructive criticism. Thank you for saying I look stupid. Collectibles for you on the first World Problems video. That's the Making Change video says, very sweet family, Ned. You are a lucky man. You don't need to remind me collectibles for you. Every day I wake up, I'm like, huh? Really? Me? Yeah.
You always asking me.
What am I always asking you?
Are you sure of getting married?
Yeah. Are you sure you want to get married to me? You gotta be specific. Yeah. All right. Mike in the Philippines says, Ned, I'm married to a Filipina. Can I get a visa for 1 year? Yeah, there's a couple different ways. They got the 6-month tourist visas now. Or you could do, if you're married to a Filipina, go for the 13A, the marriage visa. There's a little probationary period and stuff, but that's not a big deal. If you're married, that's the best thing you can do, because then you can also become a permanent resident, and you can work in the Philippines and get hired and work down at Robinson's Mall being a cashier. That's my dream. That's my dream. American OG, are you ever going to learn Tagalog or Bisaya? I know a little bit of Bisaya. I can understand a conversation. I can follow generally a conversation. Tagalog, no. Yeah. Nosebleed, absolutely. It's funny because, and you got to be careful because when someone's speaking Bisaya, or if I start talking Bisaya, they'll be like, "Oh," and then they'll start talking fast to me, and I'll be like, and I'll get nosebleeds. So now I know how they feel when we're blasting them with our English. Yeah, George Buckaloo says military visa is also an option for veterans. Yeah, if you're single and you're gonna stay single, the best bet, the best bang for your buck is the military courtesy visa right now, the SRRV. All right. Does Tor soon to be wife want kids? Oh, does my wife? Does your soon to be wife want kids? Do you want kids?
Of course.
Oh gosh, that's gonna be even more expensive. Well, we'll feed him coconut rice. Little Neds, yes. Mini Neds. All right, moving on. Kalayugan Music Man leaves a comment on First World Problems. That's the Making Change video. Don't get married. He is not your type. I think he's actually got a video channel himself, this Kalayugan Music Man. And I checked some of it out because when somebody leaves a comment like that, I'm like, I gotta check this guy out. And he's an interesting character. My favorite one is when I guess he started working out recently, so he's like posing. This is what it looks like at 56 or whatever. Yeah, because he was working out for a couple of weeks. Anyways, but he's also a musician, and he's left other comments. And I think he's just goofing on me. But yeah, I don't think I'm your type.
He's not my type either.
Oh, good. Well, that's good. Moving on, Nifty Norm 1 said on the First World Problems Making Change video, there's no Coinstar machines in the Philippines. Coinstar in the United States, you go there, these big machines, usually at a supermarket, you throw all your coins in there. They take like 3% or something, and they give you a voucher and you get your money and everything. As we were doing the video and all that, I was like, I wonder if that would be a good business idea to open, start a Coinstar type service in the Philippines at, all the malls and everything. And then I thought about it some more and realized how curry-put a lot of Filipinos are. So I don't think they'd be happy paying 3% interest, losing 3% of their money by using Coinstar. It's actually cheaper for them, because labor's not that expensive here to count them all up and just bring
manually.
Them in. Let's see. DB Coop says, is the only thing you need to get a SRRV a DD-214, or you need to be retired from the military? No, all you need is a DD-214 with a honorable discharge. You also got to get a FBI check, and there's some income requirements and all that stuff, but it's not that high. I think it's only like $1,000 a month or something. And when you contact the local offices that do this, they'll usually set you up with an agent who handles all the paperwork and all that stuff.
Do you want kids, Ned?
Do I want kids? Hell yeah. Robert Vargas, how old am I? I'm 27. 27. I'm 52. She's 24. Yeah, it's a little bit of an age difference, but we're working through it. It's a burden that I have to bear, because she's so young. But I'm willing to give her a chance and be patient with her and train her. Yeah, because people have had so much luck coming to the Philippines and finding a nice girl and training them to be the perfect wife. Good luck. Good luck with that. My Provinciano journey. Provinciano journey says, what do you think about a $1,500 budget for me and 3 kids there? If I have vacation there about 2 months, but living and vacationing is 2 different things. Yes, it is. If you are vacationing, it's going to be a lot more expensive because you got to pay for accommodations, usually on a nightly rental basis, and food and all that stuff, as opposed to living here. There's a big difference. But $1,500 budget for you and 3 kids, it's doable. Filipinos doing a lot less than that. That's 75,000 pesos a month. Yeah. Best business in Philippines, Buddy Munoz, is building and owning commercial property. Buddy Munoz says, best business in Philippines is building and owning commercial property. I would add to that having a factory that manufactures padded bras and or calculators, because those are both in high demand here in the Philippines. Okay. Moving on. Buddy Munoz, who's in the comment section trolling me, on the Merry Christmas video says, question, what does having a big nose in Philippines really mean? I have a huge nose, and I'm just wondering what it signifies. So why don't you answer that, hon? You're in charge of that one. What's so great about a big nose?
I can't relate to that because I only have small nose.
Yes, you have, like many of your compatriots here in the Philippines, you have a fairly flat nose. So what's the attraction to big noses? What's
Having a big nose?
Yeah, why is that attractive to Filipinos?
Because maybe we're tired of having a small nose. That's why we're attracted to big nose.
Right. And if you notice, a lot of times Filipinos will angle their heads in a way that makes their nose, not as flat as it is. But I think you get an adorable nose. I love your nose. It's so small and cute. Tom Patrick says can openers are in big demand also. Yeah, man. Those things rust out so fast here. Bruce Senadar says my wife was 22 years old. I was 47 when we got married. We've been married for 20 years now. Congratulations. Pasquale Fazio, I wonder if that's... says, how much is a tattoo that says ATM on my forehead? I think the family will do that for free for you. I think that's part of the whole thing. Whoa, Buddy Munoz. Okay, yeah, we're gonna keep that hidden there, buddy. We're gonna keep that comment hidden. Again, apologies for not having the microphone working. I should have known better. I usually do, but sorry. Pasquale Fazio says my wife uses her teeth. Yep. Neil Baker asks, who do most Filipinos think did 9/11? I'm sure they haven't put much thought into it in general. All right.
Charles said big noses are like padded bras. Bigger the better.
Bigger the better. Yeah, but this isn't false advertising. This big nose is real. And the good news for her, it's just going to keep getting bigger, because I guess the only things that continue to grow after you're an adult are your ears and your nose. So I'm gonna look like Dumbo by the time I'm done. All right. And finally, now that the microphone's working. Hello, microphone. The Expat report leaves a comment, or question, I should say. Good day, Ned. Hey, I've been hearing the internet is really bad in Dumaguete. I am on 50 megabit download and 20 megabit upload for 2,500 pesos a month. Can I get that same speed in Dumaguete if I pay the same amount? And is it reliable? Okay, so there's a couple things. I have PLDT fiber optic. I've had it for quite a while. I got 50 megabit up and down. It's like 2,900 pesos a month. It's been very reliable. Had no issues with it, other than they throttled me one time because I went off on their customer service. I did a video on that. Yeah, never complain or be a jerk when you're talking to their customer service, because they will throttle you. It was about a week and a half they had me throttled. It's been very reliable. It's consistent. The latency, or however you pronounce that, isn't that great because Philippines is using its own backbone. So when you bounce out to a server in the United States, you're looking at 200 milliseconds, 250 milliseconds. And when you're doing internally in the Philippines, it's about 20, 15 milliseconds. So once it gets to that international route, it slows down quite a bit. But it's been reliable. We've had no issues. You like it, right? Works good. We can also, she could be working, and she's working on through video chat with her students, and I can be streaming Netflix at the same time, and you can have a bunch of things.
There's no problem.
Yeah, there's no problem. Charles says, did you cover the new visa topic? Yeah. Again, the Philippines and the United States is butting heads. Philippines is once again threatening saying Americans have to get a visa before they come here, which is going to affect their tourism and all that. And tourism is big in the Philippines. They count on that. But like somebody else noticed, the vast majority of tourists are coming from Asia. They're coming from Japan. They're coming from China, Korea. We only think, especially when you first get here, and like somebody commented before, it's there. When you first get here, sometimes for some people it might be hard to differentiate Filipinos from Asians and stuff, because some Filipinos got Asian ancestry, Japanese ancestry, or Chinese ancestry. So yeah, when you first get here, it's like, oh, there's not that many foreigners here because we're looking at white people or Africans, black people, and then it's only later that you realize, oh my God, look at all the Koreans and Chinese that are here. Yeah. How much does a whole pineapple cost there? Neil Baker asks, how much does a whole pineapple cost there? I bought one today in Fresno for $1.49. I have no idea because I don't like pineapple.
I don't like pineapple.
It's too sweet. It's too sweet. Pasquale Fazio says 40 cents. All right, Buddy Munoz says they want to start businesses on the barangays that renting out commercial spaces is the most lucrative. Yeah, I've seen a lot of those go up around Dumaguete over the past couple of years. A lot of commercial. And then they rent it out to little businesses and all that stuff. American OG says, how can I convince my Filipina to stay here in Vietnam with me? Everything is better here. Okay, so this is an expat. He's in Vietnam. He's got a Filipina wife or girlfriend. Just take away her passport, man. Take away her passport. She ain't going anywhere. She ain't going anywhere. No, I don't. That's don't do that. I think it's illegal. But something you have to keep in mind, if you want good quality internet, you gotta stay with usually the larger metropolitan areas, even though I don't think Dumaguete City qualifies as a metropolitan area, but the city or whatever. Dumaguete has fiber. Valencia has fiber. They actually had it before we did. And
Bacong doesn't have.
They don't?
The PLDT?
Bacong?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have it, don't they?
They only have Globe.
Oh, okay. So it's kind of like being a drug addict and being on a methadone clinic, having to go to a methadone clinic, because you can't leave the city. So if you're looking for another house, another rental like we are, and we've been looking for a long time now, a lot of decent places a lot further outside the city, they won't have fiber optics. So, and I don't want to go back to DSL or LTE or any of that stuff, because that's no fun. So again, it's kind of like being on a methadone clinic, because when you're on the methadone clinic, you can't travel far from the methadone clinic because you got to go there like every day or twice a day or something. I used to work at the sheriff's department in Boston, and there was a methadone clinic right next to us, so you'd see everybody going there. Uncle Ruckus says, grow your own pineapple. I agree, Uncle Ruckus. What's up, Unc? George says, pineapple average size, 50 pesos. Yeah, it's $1. It's cheap. Also, bananas aren't that good for you either, come to find out. And I love bananas, but they're really high in sugar. So, Chichai introduced me when I was sick and I had dengue. She used to bring me these things they call pears here.
Apple pears.
But yeah,
pear apples.
I call them pear apples because it's like a combination. They did some, in a mad scientist somewhere got a test tube and did some crazy things and crazy combinations, because it's like half pear, half apple. Yeah, because it's round. It doesn't have the pear shape. It's not that. And pears is one of a nice ripe pear is one of my favorite fruits because it's nice and soft and it's just so sweet and juicy. It's so yummy. But the pear apples aren't bad, but they're kind of expensive. How much are they?
Here, yeah,
30?
It's 30 to 40 pesos.
Yeah, 30 to 40 pesos, but they're pretty big.
Yeah, in Bacolod it's only 20.
Yeah,
20 pesos.
Because everything's better in Bacolod. The chicken's better, the fireworks are better, but you don't like Bacolod that much anymore.
Yeah.
My Filipino adventure says Chinese pears. Okay, thank you for that. They are Chinese pears. Mark Freedom says, Ned, your spaghetti meal deal with the kids, how do you go about it with only feeding the kids and not the adults?
We're also feeding the adults if there's extra spaghettis because we are prioritizing the kids, the small kids.
Right. And if you notice during the video, you'll see there's a couple of people that actually live down there that are friends of ours that organize all the kids and get everything together and line them up. And they actually do. They're the bouncers. You know, if some adult comes and says, "Hey," you know, if a Fortuner pulls over and a guy jumps out, it's like, "Hey, I want some spaghetti." They'll tell him to beat it. You know what I mean? I don't get involved. I just sit back, take some video, and all that. Loomis1210 says, "Good morning to you there. Like the channel and your time. Thank you." Korean and Japanese pairs are also around, so maybe that is American OG. He said, "How can I keep my Philippine in Vietnam?" I said to take her passport away, and American OG says, "I told her I will take her passport away. She said she will spank me." All right, so probably it's time to get off the line, turn the lights down low, and get it on. Uncle Ruckus says, "Is your girlfriend Ilonga?" Yes.
Yeah, I'm proud to be Ilonga.
Yep. Because they have the best chicken and the best fireworks and the best
Piaya.
and the cheapest. We have good piaya, but it's from Bacolod.
Still from Bacolod.
Yeah.
Bonbons.
Buddy Munoz says, "Don't rent, own." I don't know, man. I don't know.
Renters rent, owners own.
Yeah, because once you get a property or once you buy a house here in the Philippines, I've seen this happen many times. If you decide at some point that you no longer want to live here and you want to move, it's very difficult to get rid of the property. Also keep in mind that, because a lot of Filipinos that have a lot of money to buy a nice place, they want to build their own house from scratch. So they don't want somebody else's house. A lot of times they'll buy everything. They'll demo the house and build a new house. And also keep in mind that foreigners cannot own property. So the property's in her name. So you have to have been together for a while and have a lot of trust there, because at any point, you know, things could go south and she could say, "Get off my property." And then move the family in, right? Yeah, so that could happen. So a lot of times, especially when you first get here, you do not own it. You can't, don't buy a condo when you first get here, when you're visiting or whatever. Don't do anything like that. Just stay here a while, rent. Rentals aren't that expensive. It's actually dirt cheap. And that's it. Christy says, "How old is your girlfriend?" How old are you?
15.
She's 15. Yeah. That's
24.
Here comes the PMP. There's helicopters outside. What are the helicopters here for? Buddy Munoz says they are in Hawaii on the Big Island. Yeah, Big Island's nice, man. Nice, man. Or Uncle Ruckus says just leased 25 or 50 years. Yeah, you can do that. You can do that. But don't try to circumvent the Philippine land ownership laws. Because, I mean, some people will say, "Oh, you just have a corporation," or just have her write up a lease, leasing the property back to you, all kinds of stuff. No. I mean, if a judge determines that he says, "Oh, here's a foreigner trying to circumvent our laws," guess what? You've lost the house. You've lost the land. Now, as a foreigner, you can own the house, as long as you keep all the receipts, you show proof of purchases, all that stuff. But if you separate or whatever, the judge is going to say, "Okay, you guys got to sell the property, then you get to split the price of the house, not the property." But that can take a long time, because I've seen properties sitting for sale ever since I've got here. For past 6 years, there's been some places that foreigners have owned that are trying to sell. They're back in Australia, UK, wherever, and they're still trying to get rid of it. They slowly bring the price down, but it's hard, man. And apologies to anybody who has a condo. Condos in the Philippines generally are very small, like the ones that just recently went up on the Dumaguete waterfront, which kind of looks like a housing project. Sorry. They're only 30 square meters, and they say they're 2 bedrooms. So how you have a 2-bedroom condo at 30 square meters, I'm not sure how they do that, but I couldn't live in one of those condos. That's just too
very small.
It's like, yeah, it'd be like being in prison. Sorry, again, apologies to anybody. Now, I have a buddy in Cebu, who has a really nice, he's got a 3-bedroom condo, and this thing's like 80-something square meters. And that's actually pretty nice. And he's got nice views. It's a corner unit and everything. So there's that. But he's that costs a lot of money, and also condos are very, very expensive.
The one by Cafe Racer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. My Filipino venture, the one by Cafe Racer. Yeah, I'm not. I couldn't live there, and I know some people that have bought there as an investment. I mean, I'm not. I don't know enough about it, but you couldn't be there. Jay DeRocher, nice guitars. Music is the best for a happy family. Keep safe there and happy 2020. Yeah, last night I was jamming out to, if you go to backing tracks on YouTube, there's all kinds of backing tracks. And I was actually jamming out to Pink Floyd's Time, Comfortably Numb. These are complete backing tracks, and the guy professionally records them. I actually have the channel on listed in my topics or whatever. But I love playing guitar. She's still better than me, though.
I can't live without music.
Iron Helm 1, can you tell me where the Bellcrest meat store is? It's in Dumaguete. I don't know where. Go on Facebook. Just type in the name. Bellcrest.
Hello from Bacolod City. Hello.
Terry S. Hello from Bacolod City. No conding and condo. LOL. That's true. Yeah, there's no goats in a condo. My Filipino Adventure says, what about the condos going up on the boulevard? Is it done yet? No, it's not. And I feel sorry for the people that were pre-sold those units, because that project's been going on for 5 years now, and it's nowhere close to moving along. I mean, there's people there working on it, but man. Carl Redmond says Philippines is the most beautiful country on earth. I agree. There are some beautiful places in the Philippines, as long as you're looking at it through a window in an air-conditioned room. Again, over the past 4 or 5 months, when our electricity meter's been broken, I've gotten used to air conditioning, and from now on, 10 months out of the year, I'm going to have 24 hours a day air conditioning. I'll pay a little more to be comfortable, because I found that you got to keep Ned refrigerated, because if you don't keep him refrigerated, he goes bad and turns into a whiny little bitch. Quick shout out to Bill Maher on that one. Rayman says, I'll be back in Bacolod City next month. That's cool. I haven't been up there yet. I know some foreigners that have lived up there.
There's no a lot of foreigners living in Bacolod, only in Dumaguete.
Because a lot of them are here now.
Yeah.
They don't have a boulevard. It's a big city.
We have.
But it's not as nice as ours.
Yeah,
we have a nice boulevard. Although if you live in Dumaguete and you've walked the boulevard recently, you'll notice that the rocks or whatever it is, the pavers, the tiles have all popped up and the thing's falling apart because the water's coming over. And I guess they didn't plan for the water coming over the wall.
And we don't call it a boulevard. We call it Baywalk.
The Baywalk.
Yeah.
I could call it Baywatch. This is a great idea. All right. Also, this was Bridget's first fireworks display. This was her first New Year's, because she's 9 months old. How old is she now?
From April.
Yeah, so she's, I don't know,
Yeah.
can't do math. 7 months old or so. When I came back to the house, the dogs, there was no dogs. So I open the gate, I start to wheel it in, and Angel comes around the backyard first. And she's like, happy to see me. And then Bridget comes around. So I guess they were hiding in the palm trees. We have a little copse of palm trees back here. I think they were hiding in that. And she was freaked out, and she wouldn't calm down. She was just crying and jumping and crying and jumping and falling and jumping and crying. Because in the Philippines, they don't play around. Down at Rusi Field, they were selling all the fireworks. So everybody's got fireworks, man. And they're blasting them off. They got the homemade cannons that what do they use to fuel those?
We call it booga.
The booga. The boogers. The booga. What is that, and what's the fuel they use? I think it's
the nail polish remover.
They use acetone.
Yeah.
They're powered with acetone. Hello, host. Good morning to both of you. Done thumbsack. Dongsen TV channel. I have no idea what you're talking about. Dun Thumbsack. My Filipino adventure says it's always hot in the Philippines. Yeah, this is the best time of the year in the Philippines. It's absolutely gorgeous. As the tropical depression was pounding Panay, which is just north of us, not too far north of Bacolod, we had one of the most beautiful days I've ever seen in Dumaguete City. This was on Christmas Day. It was absolutely gorgeous. It was like 83 degrees. It was relatively dry because, again, the storm was going and bringing in cooler air behind it. But again, that's only about 2 months out of the year. The other 10 months, I'm a whiny little bitch because it's so hot.
Init.
But even Filipinos complain.
Who complains?
You complain. Because she has two differentiations for when it's really hot. There's freaking hot, which is pretty hot, and then there's hot, which is really hot. Fracking, yeah, we'll call it fracking hot. So there's freaking hot, which is like real field temperature of 105, and then there's fracking hot, which is like a real field temperature over 115. Robbie Morris says, I find it hotter here in southern Louisiana than in San Carlos City. Yeah, I know some guys from Texas. I forgot the name of the city. Houston. They're from Houston, Texas, which I guess has some of the worst weather in the world as far as humidity and heat and all that stuff. And they love it here because they say, hey, at least it's... And one of the guys wears long sleeve shirts and pants all the time. I'm like, Joe, how do you do this? And he's like, I'm from Houston, man. This is nothing. San Carlos City. Is that... Mike in the Philippines, have you been to Baez? I think you mean Baez.
Baez.
Yeah, been to Baez. We haven't gone to Baez, though, have we?
No.
That's where they have, you can go out, you can see the dolphins, you can go out to the sandbar, the Manhuyud sandbar and all that stuff. I don't like being out on boats, because when you're out on a boat, you generally can't get off the boat until the boat comes back. So you're stuck out there. The day we went to Manhuyud, it was a company party actually, and it was so hot. And so you're out there on the boat, you're just baking. You go into the water, and everybody was on the shady side where the shade was being cast. It was hot, and the late John was saying it's okay. First world problems, people. Yeah, living in paradise and complaining about it being too hot. But yeah, again, if it was less hot, this would be paradise, man. It really, for me, it would be. Not for a lot of other people. Again, the vast majority of foreigners that come to the Philippines and are like, hey, I'm going to live in the Philippines for years. The vast majority of them just like, no. For whatever reason, there's a whole list of reasons we could get into. So it takes a certain type of individual, I won't say demented or mentally challenged, to actually stay here a long time. Like I guess 6 years is the longest time. So I guess I'm demented and mentally challenged. You just take it as it is. You accept Bahala na.
Bahala na.
You expect Bahala na. Charles says, he's got 2 feet of snow. Yeah, I guess certain areas of the world right now, because it is January, are getting hammered with snow. Dallas Story says, please do the kayfabe prize. I'm sure I'm top 3. That's one of the things and for people who, because I'm sure people have already emailed the answer. Oh, shoot, we got to finish up here because you got to work. I really love the history of wrestling. I love its start. I love the language because they have their own language because they were trying to protect kayfabe. Kayfabe is just basically pretending that wrestling is real. And even to this day, even though he has podcasts and everything, Jim Cornette gets really upset at all the early wrestlers who started to break kayfabe and say, yeah, it's as a predetermined outcome. The wrestlers are talking to each other during the match, setting up the next move sets and all that. But still, it's great entertainment. And my favorite time was WWE during the Attitude Era. Yeah, it was like 1999, 2000. It was freaking awesome. All right, so that's basically it. Thanks to everybody who commented. I'm sorry I didn't check, and I usually do that at the beginning of a live stream. I'll be like, hey, is everything okay? People, can you hear us and everything? I didn't do that this time. So the first 13 minutes of this is basically silence. So I apologize for that. We got 191 people watching. I'm surprised because Tom Brady and the Patriots are rushing off to victory, I'm sure. I'm not a sports fan at all, and I didn't know that the game was right now. I guess there's a big game going on. And people were saying, hey, Tom Brady's doing his show the same time that you're doing yours. And I was like, who's Tom Brady? Is he another vlogger? Competition. All right, everybody. Again, thank you for watching. Thank you to my wonderful co-hostess, Chichai. And this is Ned.
Chichai.
Hey, everyone. And we'll see you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.